Rain poured over the quiet cemetery, the sound of droplets hitting her umbrellas like soft whispers of grief. 12-year-old Emily clutched a small, faded teddy bear against her chest, the only thing that still smelled like her mother. Her mother, Grace, had been everything to her, gentle, hardworking, and endlessly loving. Emily had never known her real father, her mother rarely spoke about him. For as long as Emily could remember, it had always been just the two of them, until her mother married Richard 2 years ago. At first, Richard had been kind, or at least he pretended to be. He smiled, bought Emily gifts, called her princess. But the moment Grace's illness grew worse, his warmth froze into resentment. The money that once went to family dinners now went to his new car. And when Grace passed away, the thin thread of tolerance snapped. The funeral ended. People slowly left, leaving only gray skies and silence. Emily stood by the grave, her small hand trembling as she placed a single white daisy on the mound of earth. "Greater than, goodbye, Mom," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I'll try to be strong. Like you always said." She turned to find Richard leaning against his car, impatience in his eyes. He wasn't crying. He wasn't even pretending. "Greater than, come on," he barked. "We're leaving." Emily wiped her tears and followed him, her shoes sinking into the mud. At home, a house that no longer felt like one, Richard's temper exploded. "Greater than, your mother didn't leave me anything," he shouted. "All her money, all her things, everything was in your name. What am I supposed to do with that?" Emily flinched. She didn't even understand what that meant. She had never cared about money. "Greater than, I don't know," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Greater than, of course, you don't know," he sneered. "You're just a useless kid. You think I'm going to feed you? Pay for your school? No way." He took a step closer, his eyes cold. "Greater than, pack your things." Emily froze. "Greater than, what? Greater than, you heard me. You're not my problem anymore." Her lips trembled. "Greater than, but, Mom wanted me to stay with you." She said you'd. "Greater than, your mom isn't here anymore." He interrupted, his voice sharp as glass. She backed away, clutching her teddy bear, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Greater than, please, don't make me go. I have nowhere to." But he didn't listen. He opened the door, threw her small backpack outside, and pointed. "Greater than, out." The door slammed. Emily stood in the cold, her heart pounding. The house, her mother's house, was now silent behind her. The world felt too big, too cruel. She walked aimlessly down the road, rain soaking her hair, shoes squishing in the mud. Every passing car sent waves of cold water at her legs. She didn't cry anymore. She couldn't. The tears had run out. Hours later, she sat under a streetlight near an empty park, shivering. She hugged the teddy bear and whispered to it, as if it could hear her mother's voice through its worn fur. "Greater than, Mom, what do I do now?" Lightning flashed in the distance. Somewhere behind her, a car slowed down. The sleek black car came to a stop near the curb. The driver's window rolled down, revealing a man in his early 40s, with kind eyes and a tailored coat. "Greater than, hey," he said softly. "Are you okay?" Emily didn't respond. She was too cold, too tired, too broken to speak. The man stepped out, holding an umbrella. "Greater than, it's freezing out here," he said, kneeling to her level. "Where are your parents?" She looked up, eyes red and swollen. "Greater than, my mom's gone," she murmured. "And my stepdad doesn't want me." For a moment, the man's expression shifted, shock, then sadness, then anger. "Greater than, you're out here all alone." She nodded slowly. He hesitated, then reached into his pocket, pulling out a small golden locket. He stared at it for a moment, as if lost in another time, before looking back at her. "Greater than, what's your name?" "Greater than, Emily." His breath caught. He whispered the name again, almost to himself. "Greater than, Emily." He looked at her teddy bear, her mother's eyes reflected in her face. The same softness. The same sadness. "Greater than, your mother's name wasn't Grace, by any chance?" Emily blinked, surprised. "Greater than, how do you know my mom?" He swallowed hard. "Greater than, because, I once loved her." Emily stared, confused. The man took a deep breath, his voice trembling now. "Greater than, I'm David. Your mother and we were together before she moved away. We lost touch, and, I never knew she had a child." Emily's eyes widened. You knew my mom. David nodded, tears forming. Greater than, she was the kindest woman I ever met. Silence fell between them, the kind that feels heavy with fate. David slowly offered his hand. Greater than, come with me, Emily. You shouldn't be here. She hesitated. But when she looked into his eyes, she saw warmth, something she hadn't felt since her mother's last breath. Hours later, in the warmth of David's mansion, Emily sat by a roaring fireplace, wrapped in a soft blanket. For the first time in days, she felt safe. David brought her a bowl of soup and sat beside her. Greater than, eat slowly, he said gently. You're safe now. She took a spoonful, her hands trembling. Why are you helping me? David smiled sadly. Greater than, because your mother once helped me when I was broken. I promised her, even if she never heard it, that if I ever got the chance to repay her kindness, I would. Emily looked down, tears streaming again. Greater than, I miss her so much. Greater than, I know, he whispered. But she's still with you, Emily. In your heart, in that teddy bear, in every kind thing you do. He paused, then added softly. Greater than, you remind me so much of her. Strong, even when the world isn't fair. Weeks passed. David became her guardian officially. He hired the best lawyers, confronted Richard, and discovered that Grace had indeed left her assets in Emily's name. The house, the savings, everything rightfully hers. When David told her, Emily burst into tears. Greater than, I don't want the money. I just want someone to care about me. He knelt down and smiled. Greater than, then let me be that someone. Months later, Emily stood in front of her mother's grave again, this time, not alone. David stood beside her, his hand resting gently on her shoulder. The sun broke through the clouds, lighting up the marble stone. Emily placed the teddy bear on the grass, whispering. Greater than, Mom, I found him. I found the man you once loved. And he found me. David's voice trembled behind her. Greater than, thank you, Grace, for giving me a second chance to love. Emily turned and hugged him, tears falling freely, not from pain this time, but from gratitude. For the first time since her mother's death, she felt truly home. Years later, Emily grew up to be a kind, confident young woman. Under David's guidance, she studied hard, built charities for abandoned children, and often told her story to inspire others. She never forgot where she came from, or the night when a stranger stopped his car and changed her life forever. Greater than, sometimes, she would tell others with a smile. Angels don't have wings. Sometimes, they drive through the rain.